Hey, it's Brock here with Rock Hill Farms, and I've got a little bit different type of project today, but this is something I've been wanting to do for a long time, and I'm actually really excited about it, so hopefully you guys find it interesting. I've got a true professional coming out to set this up for me. When I say professional, he's not just a professional beekeeper. What he does for a living is sets up and maintains beehives for other people. So I'm excited. I think they're going to be here in about 30 minutes. I just need to do a little bit of mowing in the area where we're going to put this, and I can't wait to get started. While I'm mowing this little patch, I wanted to go ahead and explain why I'm getting bees. The first answer is pretty obvious, but bees are a critically important part of our ecosystem, and we need to maintain the bee populations as much as possible. Second reason is I had a tree in this same area that we had to remove the bees from, and going through that process really drew me towards beekeeping. I was just so fascinated by the way they operate that I wanted to do it again. The next reason is we're supporting a local family-owned business that you're about to meet in the video. The fourth reason is I thought it was good, helpful, educational content for YouTube. Okay, I've got Justin here from Sweet Stingers, and he's going to be the one setting up the beehives and teaching me how to take care of them. So you want to tell them a little bit about what you guys do and where they can find you?
Yeah, so my name is Justin. We are an Oklahoma beekeeping operation. This is my son Lucas. This is our daughter Lexi. What we do is we manage hives for people that want bees or need bees around. We also teach beekeeping on location and stuff, so we're going to be teaching him. We'll be setting up 2 hives, so they're right back here. These are a nuke, so we made it split earlier, so they're a smaller hive, and we're going to grow them up and hopefully get honey off of them next year. It looks like a good location for them. Open easy access. He has a pond over here, so that's really good for the bees. You can find us online, Instagram, Facebook, and we're on YouTube. It's all under Sweet Stingers. But we have around 180 locations that we do this on throughout Oklahoma. He's the only one that we have it out of state now, so we have close to around 800 hives.
So I think it's a really valuable service, because I think there's probably a lot of people like myself that we actually had natural beehives here, and I enjoyed the fact that they were here. We know they're an important part of the ecosystem. We can't lose our bee populations. I've wanted to keep them, but I was just intimidated by it. Said, I'd like to do it, but what if I don't know what I'm doing, or kill the bees, or don't know how to manage it properly? I also love that it's a small business and that it's a creative business.
Yeah. It's something that we did. We actually came up with during COVID. And the reason why is, like he said, there's a lot of people that want bees. There's a lot of people that need bees, but there's a huge learning curve to bees. And around 80% of beekeepers will fail within 3 years. So they waste thousands of dollars. They kill, thousands of bees, and then they get out of it. So this is where we came in. And instead of going around to big time commercial, agriculture and everything, we just decided, hey, there's enough people that want bees that need a service like this, and we opened it up. And as far as we know, there's not very many people. I don't know anybody doing it in our state. I don't know any beekeeping operation personally that does what we do.
Fantastic. So you ready to get them out of the
let's
truck
get them out and stuff.
start learning about it? So the first misconception I had was that these would need to be held way up in the air. He was saying that a lot of times they like to set them right on the ground. So I've mowed the area here. Maybe he can tell us in a minute why they like to do that.
When you're setting them up, so we don't bring out like levels and all that stuff, but we kind of have a slope in the front because you want the water to drain out during the wintertime. But it's more important to be level, horizontal and stuff than anything else, because when the bees are building comb, if it's crooked, then they'll start building the comb crooked, and you don't want to do that. So
okay.
So if it's not level this way, it's fine. Towards their entrance and stuff, it's fine. You just wanted to make sure that the combs are level. And you don't have to put them on the stand. I heard you saying that. Really high up in the air. You need to do it what is comfortable for you. I like my honey supers. So when we're extracting honey, I like to be able to pull honey right here and not right here. But some people will put an 18-inch stand up off the ground and stuff, and that's fine. We don't do that because we deal with a ton of wind in Oklahoma, and I don't want them to blow over.
So Justin told me that his family's been in bees since he was a kid. What do you think about the bees? Did you grow up with them too?
I did not grow up with bees, but my family did have gardens all growing up.
You enjoy it? There's a big bee on you right now.
It's a bumblebee though.
Those are different, huh?
Yeah, those are different.
And so you enjoy it now?
I do, yeah. I enjoy especially how passionate my husband is about it, but also all the things that my kids get to learn about it.
So I've only been around them that one time, and I thought it was such a cool experience. I said, I'm doing that someday.
Yes, yes.
So one thing when you're transporting bees, we have a vent here. We'll take this vent off. This is for transportation purposes though. So we vent the top. Under here we vent the bottom. Now here in a couple of weeks, I was telling him, we're working on some new designs for a stand. And so we will end up transferring all this whole setup that you see right here out and putting it into the new design. We're just working on tweaks and stuff right now.
I got suited up. At least I'm gonna look like I'm helping. What's the secret to the smoke can? What goes in there?
Okay, so we use cedar shavings. It's just, I like the smell of them. A lot of people use pine. I don't like pine because it gums up the smoker really bad. And then, but you can use grass, leaves, hay, whatever you like. A lot of people like the smoker pellets. It also smells good. I stay away from the grass because I get tired of the smell. So we just use cedar shavings. And how we light them, a lot of people have trouble lighting smokers, is we put the cedar shavings in here, fill it up, and then we use a torch like this, close it up. A lot of people will light their fuel inside here, which is fine, but we do this. So basically what you want to do is you get a few of the red hot cherry spots on the smoker. These are stainless steel, so you're not going to ruin them. But if you get it lit and you get a smoker lit right, then this will last all day. I can travel, so from here I can go 2 hours down the road and it'll still be lit as long as I keep fuel in here and stuff. So you just keep pumping it and then it'll produce this nice smoke. You want a cool smoke. You don't want anything hot. It'll singe the bees' wings. Bees are very hairy. They have hair everywhere, so that will singe all the hair on them. So you got to make sure your smoke is cool, so never get a hot fire going in it and stuff. But a lot of people have trouble keeping that lit. But this is how we do ours. And then you need a bead tool. You can do one simple, or you can do one more complicated.
And you need that for what?
So we use this to pry open the hives because of the propolis. It will stick it together to pry open the or to get the remove the frames out and stuff. So you need some type of little crowbar type thing. Like these are just called hive tools, and it just helps you work the hive better. So with using smoke, you don't want to use a whole lot. So you don't want to come over here if this was a hive and just be like bam, bam, bam. All right, so smoke naturally calms them down. What it does is it makes them eat the honey, the nectar that their food is. It fills up their honey stomach. Bees have 2 stomachs, so they have their honey crop. It fills up their honey crop, and it makes it where their abdomen cannot sting us as easy and stuff. So they get fat and they're full and they can't bend to sting us. So you just want a little bit of smoke. You don't need a whole bunch. You know, and I always tell people when you're not used to bees, suit up. So if you're just getting into it and stuff, suit up. You can get gloves. The first thing I want to try to teach people to do is lose the gloves. Not necessarily lose the suit, but lose the gloves, because it's a lot better dexterity with your fingers when you're pulling up frames. So when you start smashing a bunch of bees, and bee gloves like what my son has on and my daughter have on, they're really bulky and stuff. So when you can start using it barehanded, or you can use a latex glove for better dexterity. But if you're not smushing bees a lot, then you're not going to rile them up. They're not releasing the alarm pheromones. It's going to be a lot better on the hive overall. It'll be a lot more enjoyable for the beekeeper. But we train a lot of people, and a lot of guys especially, they don't want to put a suit on, and most of the time those people, they're not going to learn very well, because they're intimidated by the bees. And so your suit, you have to have trust in the equipment. So your suit is your trust. It doesn't matter if these bees come out of here and they're just really mean. You're protected, and you can work it. You can figure out why they're mean. A couple of things that will turn a hive mean: lack of forage, if you have problems with a pest coming in, if these hives start trying to rob each other, or another beekeeper is in the area and their hives are robbing each other, a queen dies, or high pests like your mites or something internal here will cause bees to become aggressive. And just different seasons. So this colony could be super gentle right now, and then let's say we get into no forage, this hive could become more aggressive. So we always have a smoker lit, and we always got our suits by, just in case we run into a problem like that. But we hope not to, but it's not a guarantee. So what you are seeing in here, this is an internal feeder. This is what we suggest always using. You will see some that use a mason jar on the front. We discourage that a lot, because it will bring in robbers to the front. So we use an internal feeder. So these are 5-frame nuke boxes. So we got 4 frames up here, and this internal feeder takes up 1 spot. And then the bees are in here, and we'll get down there into the bottom. So you just run a little bit of smoke just like this over it. And then you want to start from the outside, okay? So you want to start with this frame on the outside right here. You pop it up, and you try not to bang them up, bang the, like swing the frames and stuff. You don't want to kill the bees and stuff. So what you're seeing in here, there's a lot of pollen. Oklahoma has a tremendous amount of pollen. So this yellow stuff is pollen. They're cleaning these frames up. These 4 frames inside this colony up here were from a hive that we lost, and so they are cleaning it up. So this webbing right here that you see, all this will be gone in about probably a week or so. And so on our next visit though, they'll have these cleaned up, and the queen will probably be laying in these. So she's not up here yet. We just put this little part on yesterday, and just to get them to clean up and stuff. So okay, so in the internal feeder, we use what is called a cap and a ladder type setup. So this will go over the top of this. You can use them and put some wood in here, so you don't have to spend the extra money to buy this part. And these little clips right here that it comes with will hold it together, instead of when you fill this up. So this holds about I think they're a gallon, maybe a gallon and a half. When you fill them up, they bow out. So you have to use these little clips on here to hold it if you don't put the ladder in. We use the ladder system. You can get a lot of dead bees, especially if the hive is little, and it bothers some people. So we use a ladder. This is a mother load feeder. It's one that we personally recommend. It's about the only one that we use that snaps on. We feed them in case we get into a drought situation, or if they didn't make enough honey to get them to survive winter, or if they're little colonies, they need help building up and stuff. So you feed them right outside of winter. They're usually really low on food, and we're in a dearth period, so that's when you start feeding them as well. So this is strictly for food for the bees, if they need it. So now we will go in here into the bottom box. This is where all the action is going to be right now. So we just made this up. You want to use a little bit of smoke, just a little bit, and then you start with the outside frame. The reason why you start with the outside frame is the queen is usually not on the outside frame. So what you can see in this frame, and you can hold it, so there is some, this is your capped honey right here.
Yep.
This is nectar down here, so it's the shiny stuff is the nectar. These are mainly all just worker bees, which are your female bees. These are the bees that sting you, the male bees don't. This is your pollen right here. So this is, Oklahoma is orange and yellow. I'm guessing this area in Kansas is too. So that's what you're looking at. You can hold it up. When they get full, it'll weigh, one of these is a deep frame, it'll weigh about 10 pounds and stuff, so they can get heavy in the boxes.
So when it's capped like that, that honey's done, is that correct?
That is correct. So when we're leaving this is their food. But when we're harvesting, when the whole frame is capped like that, we take that capping off, and that's what we get to enjoy. So the queen bee, she is right here. So we give her a dot. This color right here is red. There's an order of queen bees, the colors, and that way we can keep her age on her. A lot of times we'll use a yellow marker though. It's just a paint pen, and then or a green, because it's easy for us to see. And so that's how we can identify a queen. When you're trying to find this one little bee, let me pick her up.
I can't imagine it doesn't look that much bigger than the other bees.
So when you're trying to find this one little bee in a full hive will have 80 to 100,000 bees in it. It gets really hard. So if we see them, we'll dot them. We're not trying to look for queens. We're trying to see the signs of her though, because you can get hung up on trying to find a queen and waste a whole bunch of time. So don't do that. But in here, I want you to see. So this right here, this brown stuff, underneath these bees right here.
Yep.
So this is capped brood. So each one of these cells is going to produce a new baby bee. One frame holds, on one side holds about 3,500 cells. So on both sides, it's about 7,000 bees. So if this is completely full of capped bees, we know that 7,000 are going to be born, and that's how we can judge how many the numbers are coming up in a hive. If you see down into these cells though, let's see, right down in here, you get the sun right, and you see those little white things.
Yep.
Okay, so that's the larvae. That's the egg that hatched. And let me see if I can find some eggs for you. The one thing that you want to see is eggs. Okay, so if you look down in this cell right here, okay, and that cell right there,
yeah,
you see that little thing? It looks like a grain of rice. That's what you want to see. That is the queen. She's doing her job laying eggs. So it's really hard to pick up on the camera, but that is what it is. See there, you can see the white. That is what you want to see. If you see brown larvae or it looks dry, then you don't have good forage, and that's an unhealthy hive. So you want to see it white, and you want to make sure it's like liquid looking, so it's shiny. That's what you want to see. And the reason why we use the hive tool, you'll notice on these frames, the propolis. And propolis is a very sticky substance. It's like a super glue in nature. And so when the bees really propolize it up, it's hard to remove. So there you go. So most of the time what a frame's going to look like is like this. So your brood is right here in the middle. You're going to have some pollen up here in the corner, and then you'll usually have a honey band here. So they have all their food right here ready to go. Pollen feeds larvae. The nectar feeds the bees. So the only thing that uses the pollen are the baby bees. The nurse bees will feed them. But you want pollen, and you want a good source of pollen and stuff. So that's how they always will keep a little bit of pollen around the outside of the frames. When you're checking hives, you want to go slow, but you also want to do it in a fast pace. So you don't want to just be waving frames all over the place and attracting other bees here, because you'll start a robbing situation. So you want to know, you want to see what you're seeing. So down here, you get your capped brood, so you can identify that really quick. We got pollen, and then you can come down here and see the white larvae, and then you start looking for little dots of eggs. and you know that the queen is here, she's good, she's laying. If you do not see eggs, so see, here's all the eggs. You see in there now?
Yeah.
Okay. So the eggs, if you don't see eggs, then you got to start investigating further. If you see eggs like this and they got food, you can close this up and be like, okay, she's done. You don't have to go frame by frame. You don't have to spot the queen or anything like that. You can feel the weight of the hive and go, they got plenty of food on them, so I don't need to feed them.
So essentially, the main purpose of what you're doing now is just checking on the health of the colony.
Yeah. So for this purpose of this inspection right now is we're making sure the queen did not get damaged. So I'm trying to put eyes on the queen from transportation, and then we're making sure that the colony as a whole is functioning right and everything like that. So in transportation, sometimes things can happen, things shift and stuff. So now what we're doing, so this hive is good. We noticed everything that we needed to see. They got food on them. We're going to put this box back on it. We are going to put one of the lids on here, and this lid right here has a rim. Okay, this rim is for if we need to feed pollen patties, or if we need to feed a sugar block in the wintertime or something. In the wintertime, you cannot feed syrup. The bees can't get it if it's too cold. You have to feed solid sugar, and so this gives it a raised thing so that we can put the sugar over here. So we'll lay a piece of newspaper down here and dump sugar on here, and so that gives it a raised area.
Okay.
We put it on here like this, and what I like to do, you can either put a brick on here, but we have our straps. We will strap it. That way, if it did blow over, it's not going to just fall apart.
Well, can they get in and out of that right now?
Yeah, so their entrance is right here.
Okay. But
right.
that was just like capped off.
Yeah,
when you
so
got here?
we put tape over it, and so this one right here, it has a disc on it, and this disc, it has a vent wide open. This is a drone excluder, and this is a queen excluder. And so these discs, if you ever want to go with a disc, I do not recommend these plastic ones. They make a metal one, way better. These plastic ones deteriorate in the sun, fall apart. Don't get them. They make a round stainless steel one, way much better.
So where do you get your hive boxes at?
So we have a guy in Arkansas that builds the majority of our boxes. So these are, like I said, these are a nuke. When we switch them over, they're going to be in a 7-frame hive box. So we don't keep a standard 8-frame or 10-frame equipment. We'll keep a 7-frame. It matches the interior of a tree a lot better, and it's lighter weight for us. I work bees with my kids a lot, and they need to help move around. Keeping them in a 5-frame is difficult in some areas because they can just go through that space really quick. But I like them being in a cramped area. So we use a guy. He's a friend of mine. It's Pulos Apiaries. He's out of Arkansas, but you can find them. I don't suggest on Amazon the hive boxes, but you can find them on like Man Lake, Date Ant. There's some good ones. You can find anybody that's really working bees. Will do them. I don't know anybody local in the Kansas area, but the big companies, they all have them. So here we're just picking up. These are frames. These are just full of honey.
Now that backside is white.
Yes.
What's the difference there?
So this right here, and the one that we seen over here, it was brown. So the bees, when we're looking for comb honey, this is really important for like comb honey. People like this look. Now there's nothing different between this one and the one that we showed earlier with the brown. It's just these right here, this bee, their genetics put a little air pocket underneath it, and it's not sitting on the honey directly. Where that one, they got lazy and they're just putting it straight on the honey. So that's the difference in the color. But this is completely capped over, and then they are filling up this side right here. And so down here, you can see they're filling up this side. They'll draw this rest out. This is foundation under here. You don't have to use foundation, but we use foundation. And they will draw, it's a pattern down here, and that they can draw out the comb.
So when you buy this box, it's got this in it with this shape, and then they build on top of it?
Yes, for most of it, yeah. Some of the wood.
So they have something to start with, basically?
Yeah. So you'll put beeswax on it like this, all right? So they're drawing this out, but it'll look like this black right here, and so you can see how this is getting raised.
So right now you're checking this out to make sure everything's good.
Yes.
And then you're gonna leave these here. And how often Like if these were in your yard, how often are you needing to check on them or do anything with them?
Completely depends on the season. In the springtime, we're really, really busy. That's when everything is happening. That's when all the swarms are out there. I like to try to get in my yards about every 7 to 10 days. And then after that, we'll back down. So it's summertime right now. There's really a very little forage coming on. We know the bees are not going to be swarming. So we don't get into them. We might every 3 weeks, maybe a month, to let them go. And then in the wintertime, what we do is we're not really ever opening the boxes up. We're just checking to make sure they're not dead. And if they are dead, then we want to protect the comb. So we'll take it out and we'll put it in our freezer. And then in the springtime, we'll make our splits and redo it. I've been doing bees for about 32 years, and you can just kind of get a feel for things. And so right now, we just want to make sure they got food. We want to make sure the queen didn't get damaged. You can see these bees right here. They are hauling off this little old webbing right here. So they're going to take it out of the hive. They drop it off. She's doing that right here. They clean it up really well. I mean, it's very fast. There you go. So she hauls that off. Bees are pretty fascinating.
Yep, they all know their job and just do it, huh?
They do, and it goes, bees have jobs by how old they are in days and stuff. So when you see a bee flying around and they're a forager, they're on the very last end of life. So they got about 2 weeks left of life. So there we go. We got our capped brood here. I believe this queen has a yellow dot on her. Again, the yellow pollen all over here. That's our late summer going into our fall. And you know, when you're checking hives, don't worry about keeping a frame out here. Like, make sure you have enough room to get in and out and stuff. Like, so you're not rolling bees, you're not squishing bees. You know, give yourself plenty of room. If you need to remove 2 frames, then remove 2 frames.
Hey, you would think they'd be going crazy right now, but they're just busy.
Yeah, no, bees just want to work, and if you leave them alone and you're not swatting and you're not pestering them, I mean, there's a lot to learn about them, but if you take the time and learn about them and don't get real anxious and all that stuff, I mean, there's a lot to it, but there's also not a lot to it.
Okay, so we stepped away from the bees. I guess they're set up where they don't have to be messed with for a little while. And I wanted to ask a few more questions about your business model again. If someone is within your radius, which is primarily Oklahoma, how does a customer get set up with what you do, and what are they paying in general?
We have a few different options. So we have a free option that is, we come out there, we'll set hives in your backyard on your property. We manage them, and our property owners, they receive 1 pound of honey free per hive placed out there. We do all the work for them, and we will harvest the honey, and then we will sell the extra off. Those property owners also have the chance, if they want to buy a couple more bottles, then they can buy it at a discount. And then there's the property owners that really want all the honey, and especially all the businesses and stuff like that. So we're on rooftops and things. And so they pay $45 a month per hive. And depending on how many hives, it starts out at 45. It'll go down depending on how many hives we put out in a yard. And then we will harvest all the honey for them, and they keep all the honey. They're just hiring a beekeeper to manage the bees.
$45 a month to have bees taken care of for you and the honey. Pretty sweet deal.
And that's a per hive. So if you have 2 hives, it's $90 a month and stuff. Our average is probably like 6 to 10 hives on a yard.
And so if you guys want to learn more about this awesome family and what they do, or you just want to learn about bees, check out Sweet Stingers. They're on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, wherever you like to consume content.
Yep.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.